All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Free. I'm Ryan. I'm the pastor and executive director here, and this is Noelle. She's the community director here. So good to be with you all tonight on a Saturday night where it's not cold and snow. Well, it is a little cold, but it's not snowing here in Denver, which is nice. The last 2 weeks we've been snowing on Saturday night. Some of y'all feel me. Hey, welcome to all of you. Welcome to all of our online people, wherever you're joining us from. We're glad you're here. We're glad you're part of this community. Welcome to you. This is a community for addicts, loved ones of addicts, and spiritual refugees. And what we do here is break the silence of addiction and create space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection. And as always, there is one thing that we do not do here at Free. You can shout it out on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
We don't do shame.
We don't do shame. And man, that's an important message for tonight. Noelle will be bringing the message tonight. But before we get there, tell us some things coming up.
Yeah, if tonight's your first night here, welcome. We are so grateful to have you here with us tonight. Get with a home team member or free staff member, and we'll get you hooked up with a welcome bag. And inside this welcome bag, it has a little bit about what we do here at Free Recovery Community. There's some fresh roasted wagon coffee in this welcome bag and just some other free swag items. So just know that we are so grateful that you're here with us tonight, and we hope that you hear something that keeps you coming back. So next up, here at Free, we're going to be having a resource fair on March 13th. But for now, we're just doing a call for vendors. So the deadline is February 28th. But if you are a sober living, or you offer addiction services or mental health services, you, maybe a friend runs a business, we would love to have you at this event. And so it's a free event. You would just need to register by doing so via the QR code or on our website. Was there anything else?
Yeah, and there's an approval process. So once you register to be a vendor, there's an approval process. So you'll have to fill out some information. But the event itself is for anyone. Where, in fact, we're clearing this space out that day, the cafe space. We're prepared to have 50 different vendors to show resources in the community for addiction recovery and mental health and everything that surrounds that. So it's going to be a fun day. I hope you plan on coming.
Yeah, and the approval process is just so that we don't have maybe 40 sober livings and it's really skewed on one direction. So fill out the application, and I hope you all can join us. Next up, on April 5th, it's a Saturday, we will be having our baptisms here at Free. And for those of you who have never joined us for a baptism night, it is incredible. We get our custom-built wagon, front row and center, and Ben, who's on staff with us here, he fills it up with some really warm water. He's very kind. And so we do baptisms at the 5 p.m. service and the 7 p.m. service. And then Christy, who's our new assistant cafe manager, she makes cakes for us, and incredible cakes. And so we celebrate new life in between the services. So if you've never joined us for a baptism night, please do so on April 5th. Or if you're interested in getting baptized, get with Rev Ryan, and he'll get you some more information.
Yeah, a couple of weeks before April 5th, we'll do a What is Baptism class that you can be a part of, so that you know what you're getting into. And if you're like, man, how do I even begin to think about this? Simple. It's a very public proclamation from you that you are declaring that you believe that God's grace and love has always been with you from the very beginning, no matter what. Even when you were out making a mess of things, God's love was still with you. God's presence was still in your life. And you were declaring that. And this act of going down into the water, because we do water baptisms in the wagon, and coming out, it's this very symbolic of new life. And we'll get into that if you come to the class, but it'll be all kinds of fun. So join it.
All right,
is that it?
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Noelle. All right, if it's your first time with us tonight, we begin on Saturday nights with celebrations. We start with the good. We lift up the good. Maybe you're here tonight celebrating a sobriety anniversary or a birthday or whatever the new thing is you're experiencing in your life, or recovery, maybe a new job, new baby, new home. Whatever the new thing is, we celebrate it all here. Oh, let me start with celebrations, can I? Because online people, if you have celebrations, drop them in the Facebook or YouTube comments. I think we have a watch party going on tonight. They're joining us tonight. Welcome to all of you in Chicago. Some of you know this. Yeah, welcome, Chicago. Free Chicago is launching this fall. It's going to be in the city, on the north side of the city. Seth Botts is leading that. and he's putting his team together now. I think y'all are joining us tonight, so hello again. And this fall, they're going to be launching. Carrie, our Associate Executive Director. She's at the AA Women's Conference now. A lot of our women are there. Hello to some of you if you're watching tonight. Carrie has been bringing the free mission down in San Diego, having some really exciting conversations in San Diego. So more details to come on that. That's my celebration for tonight. Now I'm going to throw it to you. Scott will pass around a mic, and Adam will pass around a mic. We take 3 minutes, and you can give us the good news. This time is yours.
Hi, I'm Pamela. About 3 weeks ago, my partner Steve was offered a job in Wisconsin, and so we're moving on the 13th.
Oh my goodness, that's soon. Are we celebrating this?
Both, I think. Next Saturday, it'll be a heartache. This Saturday, it's a celebration.
Because I hear Pamela and Steve are leaving, and we're like, woo! But actually, we're sad about it. We're going to miss y'all. But congratulations on the new job. We'll clap for that. We'll celebrate it.
My name's Derek, and I want to celebrate my father, who'll be a year sober, and he's getting married in February, so
Right.
that's awesome for my father.
A year sober for Pops. There you go. We'll celebrate that.
My name is Josie, and I just want to celebrate new connections, new meaning of life, and I actually just realized this month I will be 1,000 days clean off of fentanyl.
All right, 1,000 days. Way to go. We'll celebrate that. Congratulations, Josie.
My name is Andrew. I'm just under a month clean right now. I started a part-time job this past week, and I'm about to get a full-time job, probably Monday or Tuesday. So
There you go, Andrew. Congratulations, brother.
we're here and we're free.
Glad you're here celebrating.
My name's Barry. I just want to give a shout out to our buddy Fredo here. He graduated our program, went on to sober living this morning. So, congratulations,
way to
our
go,
buddy
dude.
Fredo.
Moving on up. Congratulations.
I'm Jerome. This week on Tuesday, I celebrated my 13th year since I was medically retired from the military.
All right, Jerome. We'll celebrate that, dude. That's good news. Yes, thank you for your service, Jerome. Any other good news in the house? We got 20 seconds left. Celebrate what?
We were just going to celebrate Adam not cursing in the first service.
Adam did not drop one curse word in the first service, and it was beautiful.
Not one.
Adam, are you celebrating something this week, like on Tuesday?
I did just on this past Tuesday celebrated 8 years of sobriety, so
8 years sober, Adam. Congratulations. I'll take that from you, and then I'll see you in a little bit because you're a guest storyteller tonight. Tammy Canaday is joining me up here on the stage to join with our online community. Did you have anything to add?
I don't think so. I saw Kai. I don't know that I heard a celebration from Kai. Oh, we're close.
there we
Okay,
go.
we're
She
waiting
told me
for
that
it.
last week, actually.
That's exciting. Awesome.
All right, shall we join our online people?
Michelle says, woo, congratulations and welcome Chicago. We're excited too.
Yes, we are welcoming Chicago. Eric Arnoldy says, so excited for Chicago. Yes, we are too. We're going to celebrate Chicago all night, apparently. Good to see you here, Eric.
Crystal, we had to get a new windshield today, and the gentleman said he needed the business so bad. So I'm celebrating and seeing the good within the bad.
Yeah,
Just
there you go,
positive
Crystal.
energy.
We'll celebrate that. Mark says, my celebration is 6 months ago. I was living homeless. Not only did I get a place to live and had a pickup truck, but now I've traded my pickup truck in for a car, and God is good and 16 months clean. Way to go, Mark. We're celebrating you, buddy. Happy 16 months. Oh, did you get a long one?
I know. Thank you, Brenda. I'm actually in person, yes. Hasn't. Okay. But I'm sitting here realizing how lucky I am to be sitting right in a row with 3 dudes I consider my big brothers and mentors. There are some good dudes over there.
Beautiful.
You've all known me about 4 years, and there have been a day where hasn't
been a day
where I haven't felt judged or questioned by any of you. Thank you, Scott, Adam, and Jerome. You're all fabulous in Brenda's world.
Aw, that was beautiful. We'll celebrate that. And hasn't whoops. We'll celebrate the hasn't whoops. Okay, thank you all. It's always a beautiful thing to celebrate with you all. Hey, I think some of you know, if you've been here recently, we're in the middle of this 4-week series we're doing. It's called The 4 Agreements for 2025, which is, of course, based on Don Miguel Ruiz's book, The 4 Agreements. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. It's a simple read. You can read it very quickly. Next week, we will close that series with the 4th agreement, which is always do your best. But before we get there, because the snow week threw us off a week, so we're doing some manipulating here, Noelle's going to bring a message about not putting God in a box, and it has so much to do with, well, why we don't do shame in this community. So thank you for bringing that message tonight, and then we're going to hear from Adam Castle, our guest storyteller. It's a great night. Here's a little video for y'all.
The struggle inside of our hearts when we face opposition or friction is for God to get us from the dysfunction and frustration and shame into a place of peace. And every other form of peace you're going to find outside of the character of God is going to be counterfeit peace. That's why alcohol and drug consumption has skyrocketed. It's because we're searching for counterfeit peace. See, we've created a space for spiritual refugees at Free because every time we put God in a box, God is on the other side of that box. And every time we draw a line and say who's in and who's out, creating shame for ourselves and for others, God is on the other side of that line.
So I'm pregnant. Yeah, I am. In fact, today I'm about 100 years pregnant, which is like 700 years in dog years. And I don't want to talk so much about this pregnancy as much as I'd like to talk about my first. See, I was raised Catholic, and I don't claim to be a recovering Catholic. I didn't have a good or bad experience in the Catholic Church. That would have required that I was paying attention. But I went through all the traditions that someone would in the Catholic Church. You know, I was baptized, went through communion, and then confirmation. And all things considering, I had a relatively positive experience with the church, and I had a positive experience with my relationship with God. You know, in Bill's story, on page 12 of the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, it asks this question: why don't you just choose your own conception of God? See, in 1934, a 60-day sober man by the name of Ebby Thatcher sat across the kitchen table from a very intoxicated Bill Wilson and asked him that very question: why don't you just choose your own conception of God? In that sentence, it's probably saved millions of lives since then. But I didn't need that question when I was first getting sober. Like, I didn't have these old prejudices with God, and I wasn't harboring resentments towards religion or bitterness towards all things spirituality. At least I didn't think so until the summer of 2022. See, I knew for months that summer that Rev Ryan, that he was going to go on sabbatical in July that year. And I knew that during that time, I would be running service every single Saturday and interviewing the storytellers and preaching a message. I was prepared for that. What I wasn't prepared for was my dog. You know, he suddenly passed away. And then instantly, my house went under contract and I was moving across town. And this engineering firm that I had worked at for 8 years, I decided to move to a different engineering firm. And so all these comfort zones that I had grown so accustomed to in my sobriety were now being pulled from me. One day, right before Ryan went on sabbatical, we were sitting in his office right down the hall, and I must have looked like I got hit by a bus. Because he looked me dead in the eyes and he said, I haven't been worried about going on sabbatical until this very moment. And I didn't want to tell him then, but I wasn't worried about him going on sabbatical until that very moment either. And during this time of just overwhelming stress and my world being shaken, I found out that I was pregnant. See, I was drowning in turbulence and shame, and it just started to overcome me. Like these deep-seated religious beliefs that I had, they began to bubble up. See, I was unwed and pregnant, and for some reason that stigma began to cripple me. And this narrative came over me that I was a fraud, and that I was bad and immoral. And I remember there was a 2-week period of time in July where I took about 14 pregnancy tests, all with the identical result. And then I called my best friend and I asked her, man, what do you think I should do? Do you think I should take some more pregnancy tests? Do you think I'm really pregnant? Do you remember what you said? How expensive is your denial, Noelle? See, when we're in shame and when that takes over, my denial, it gets really expensive, especially my emotional denial. See, my delusion, it didn't just stop there. Like, I know what you're thinking. Noelle, why were you so stressed out? You stand on this stage every week and you have a front row seat to Rev Ryan asking you all, there's one thing we don't do here. And you guys all respond with, we don't do shame. But this narrative that I was telling myself was, we don't do shame except for when it comes to Noelle and her unwed pregnancy. Noelle, why were you so freaked out during this time? You're in a loving, committed relationship. Well, that wasn't the narrative that I was telling myself. And I began to physically feel weighed down. And I felt like this phony, and that I didn't belong to be here or to be standing right here. And during this time of like deep internal panic, there was no one that I was more afraid to tell than Rev Ryan. See, I knew that if I was on staff at a non-denominational Christian church down the street, that I would kindly, but firmly, be asked to step down. And I knew that Rev Ryan, that he signed a purity promise in high school. And then for his undergraduate, he had to sign a Christian covenant that opposed the exact situation that I found myself in. Brene Brown says, when you avoid conflict to make peace with people, you start a war within. And let me tell you, there was a war raging within me. But just to be clear, this imposter syndrome, it didn't come from anyone at Free. It didn't come from my friends or my family, but it originated from these religious ideas that had been ingrained in me, ones that I wasn't even aware that I held on to, rules that made me feel instantly estranged. And so the only time that I found any kind of temporary relief during this time was in absolute isolation, and I shut myself out from everyone and everything. See, here at Free, we've created a space for addicts and loved ones of addicts and spiritual refugees. And up until 3 years ago, I had no idea what it was like to be a spiritual refugee. Like, I didn't know the weight that you can carry from organized religion or those kinds of beliefs. That feeling of feeling inherently and morally bad to my core, just dripping in shame. I had no idea. I didn't become a spiritual refugee until I was 3 years sober. See, sometimes when we're in these seasons where we're consumed with shame, we get so twisted up and we find ourselves asking, God, are you really here? And I want to start this weekend by looking at a passage that David wrote. And it's a psalm or a poem in declaration to God. You know, Psalms 23, it's one of those really familiar passages. And this week, I want to share some things that really started to jump off the page for me as it pertains to being consumed by shame or finding peace in a dark valley. So Psalm 23 starts out like this, and it's really amazing. It says, the Lord is my shepherd, and I have all that I need. He lets me rest in green meadows, and he leads me beside peaceful streams. He renews my strength, and he guides me along right path, bringing honor to his name. So have you ever been on the other side of a dilemma, and you're just so grateful that the path that you wanted to have unfold, it didn't, because what God had in mind for you was just so much greater than anything you could have ever envisioned? And then he says, verse 4, even when I walk through the darkest valley, I will not be afraid, for you are close beside me. You know, it's easy to confuse a difficult season in our life with the absence of God. But David is here and he's saying, no, like I've been through some difficult seasons. I know what those valleys are like, and I don't have fear. Why? Because God is with me. He said, your rod and your staff protect and comfort me. You prepare a feast for me in the presence of my enemies. You honor me by anointing my head with oil. My cup overflows with blessings. Surely your goodness and unfailing love will pursue me all the days of my life, and I will live in the house of the Lord forever. And I want to repeat that just in case so we don't miss it. But surely your goodness and unfailing love, so God's goodness and his unfailing love, will pursue me all the days of my life, and I will live in the house of the Lord forever. So that's an amazing psalm. And I can see why it's slapped on coffee mugs and grandmas are quilting it around the world even as we speak. You know, it's one of those psalms that's etched into wood plaques along hallways and hung into bathrooms. And at the surface level, that sounds really amazing when we're in a good season. You know, it reminds us of the faithfulness of God, but when we're in a dark season, Psalms 23 doesn't really fit. It doesn't fit our lives, and it certainly didn't fit my life in the summer of 2022. You know, if there was something, a season in my life that was going to call my faith into question, that summer, that was going to do it for me. And as I look back during that summer, man, my prayers, they really look like, God, can you just get me from a place where I'm struggling to maybe a place where I'm not struggling as hard? Like, can you just get me from this confusion and this anxiety to this place of peace? Like, can we just fast forward, you know, from A to B? Because, man, I'm drowning in A right now. And if I'm honest, I was really removing God from the equation and just using him to help me with my problem. Help me get through this problem. Help me get sober. Help me get this job. Help me get through this season of life where everything just seems to be falling apart. And as I was recently reading Psalms 23, there were some things that really stuck out to me that I'd never experienced before in reading it. See, David, he took us from verse 1 through this unbelievable psalm, and then he led us to the same conclusion that he started with. See, watch what he says in verse 1. The Lord is my shepherd, and I have all that I need. And in some translations, it says, I lack nothing. And then he brings us through laying down in green pastures and still waters, and God is with him in these deep valleys. And David takes us through this beautiful journey with God. And he ends it this way, that surely your goodness and unfailing love will pursue me all the days of my life. See, David, he's one of the most significant humans in history. Like, this is the man that defeated Goliath. He knows about some dark valleys. And at the end of the journey that God takes him on, his conclusion is this: I have a good shepherd, and I have all that I want. Like, he lacks nothing, which is the exact place that he started. See, the struggle inside of our hearts when we face opposition or friction is for God to get us from that dysfunction and that frustration and shame into a place of peace. And we can look at our desire for more money or more sobriety or a healthy relationship, and I guarantee you at the core of that desire within you, you just want peace. Peace is the goal of our lives, but the problem is that we get peace all wrong. Like, I get peace all wrong. See, the Bible calls God the God of peace. The God of peace. And Scripture refers to Jesus as the Prince of Peace. The Prince of Peace. So here's why that's important. Because peace only God possesses, and peace originates in God. So any kind of peace outside of the characteristic of God is just counterfeit peace. And we're really good with counterfeit peace. That's why drug consumption and alcohol consumption is skyrocketing. It's because we're searching for counterfeit peace. All the world knows is counterfeit peace. But Scripture tells us that God is the God of peace. Not the God to peace, but the God of peace. And that was the part that I was missing in June 2022. See, when I started my faith journey, man, I was rooted in my faith. And then now, standing in front of you today, I'm just as rooted in my faith. But during that dark valley over the summer, I lost touch with this, that I can't find lasting peace apart from God. See, we've created this space for spiritual refugees here at Free because every time we put God in a box, God is on the other side of that box. And every time we draw a line and we say who's in and who's out, creating shame for ourselves and for others, God is on the other side of that line. Every time. You know, in the beginning of September 2022, I was about 4 months pregnant. And I knew I had to tell Ryan soon. And my hands were sweaty. And my voice was shaky. But finally, I got the courage to do it. Can I tell you what happened? I wasn't fired. And I wasn't condemned, and I wasn't asked to step down, but I was met with so much love and grace. And he congratulated me, and then shortly after, we began to map out what the next series at Free was going to look like, what dates I'd be preaching, and just, you know, the inner workings of Free like we normally would. He didn't even miss a beat. So let me tell you, it takes a strong human being to break away from deep-seated beliefs from organized religion, ones that have been ingrained in you for years. And it takes a great pastor to break the silence of those beliefs and create a space for those who have been afflicted and affected by those very views. But it takes an extraordinary leader to follow through with that mission at every level, especially when it means really standing behind your leadership team in a public capacity. So thank you for that. And this community that you and Tammy created, you guys, this community, you guys met me with the same amount of love and the same amount of grace. So thank you for that. You know, tonight I want to close and I want to tell you a story of one of the most profound spiritual teachers in my life. She was 4 years old. 4 years old, Madison Kochel. For those of you who don't know Madison, her dad Ben has been on staff here Free for a couple years. And the Kochels, they've been a part of Free since the beginning. And we were at our old location off Arapahoe and I-25. And for those of you who weren't with us during this time, it was a strip mall. It was about 3,000 square feet. And you pack in about 100 plus people on a Saturday night. And it was pretty cramped. And so back then, Rev Ryan, in between his sermon and the storyteller, he would put up a question on the screen. It was a reflection question from his sermon. And we would have 60 seconds to think about this question. And then he would walk across from the pulpit to grab a cup of coffee and come back and then start with the storyteller portion. And so this particular night, you know, I couldn't tell you what Ryan's sermon was about. I couldn't tell you what time of year it was, and I couldn't tell you what I was wearing that night. But I can tell you what that reflection question was like it was yesterday. And it read, who is God to you? Who is God to you? And I remember sitting there thinking my head was going to explode. Like I was like, he is the beginning and the end. Like he's the Alpha and the Omega. And then steam started to come from my ears and like differential equations were popping up and my head was spinning. Like I just could not comprehend this deep, vast spiritual question that he had just posed to us. And then little Madison Kochel, she walks up to the row in front of me and sits right in front of her mom. And she looks at her and she goes, God is love. Everyone knows that. God is love, and everyone knows that. Like, leave it to a 4-year-old to simplify something that I was trying to make so complex. God is love, and everyone knows that. Why is it important that we shed some light on shame or spiritual refugees? Or, hell, why is it important my spiritual refugee story from a couple years ago? Because if we don't share our darkest valleys, we lose the opportunity to experience the God of peace and the God of love. And some of us need to be reminded during this time where we're searching for our New Year's resolutions that more gym time or more sober time or getting on a budget is not going to lead us to a path of peace. Like, those things are recommended and they're great, but they're not going to bring any peace to your life. They won't rid you of the shame in your life. So if your hope for 2025 is, once I get to this point, then I'll have peace, it's just going to be counterfeit peace until you hit the next struggle. So here's the thing about good times. Good times don't last forever. But on the flip side of that same coin, bad times, they don't last forever either. But it's important that we find something in the in-between to maintain, whether we're in that season where we're laying in the green valley, green meadow, or we're deep in the dark valley. Something that keeps us neutralized, something that keeps us with peace. And I promise you that it's God's desire to be with you, no matter what opposition or what frustration that you find yourself in. You know, that baby that I was pregnant with in July of 2022, she's almost 2 years old now. And to think that I had so much shame and guilt around something that's so pure and perfect, man, it kind of makes me sick today. But that's where shame takes us. Like, that's where the narrative takes us. And one day, when that little girl asked me who God is, I'm going to smile, and I'll think of 4-year-old Madison Cotchell, and I'm going to tell her that God is love, and everyone needs to know that. See, we don't do shame here at Free, because God is love, and he's not judgmental, and he's not condemning, and he's not criticizing. God is love, and you need to know that. So I'm going to play a song for y'all tonight. It's called Sanctuary. And some of the lyrics to this song go, "This is my sanctuary. You can find shelter and peace. This is my sanctuary. You are safe here." And I just want you to know that if you're in here with us tonight, or you're online with us, or if you're in Chicago, that you are safe here, and that there is a space for you here. So here's Sanctuary.
Yes, it is on. Noelle introduced me to that song tonight. Thank you, Noelle. Thank you for your message tonight, too. A good word on, why we don't do shame, why we have created space for spiritual refugees. And, man, the truth is, if I thought like judgment and condemnation and just telling people how bad they are, I guess if that worked, we would do it. But in my experience, that never worked. It is always love that truly transforms the heart. It's always love that changes us. So thank you for that reminder, Noelle. You know, some of us were at Winter Symposium this week. It's a big gathering of the mental health professionals and addiction recovery professionals, all kinds of organizations. There are hundreds of people there. And I heard stories, and I was reminded of how many people are carrying baggage when it comes to the God stuff. I shared my story this morning at Aurora Sober Living over there at Ready to Work, and I was reminded afterwards of how many people carry baggage and shame and a sense of not belonging when it comes to the spiritual. And we hope to change that narrative here. And it's core to who we are, so it's what we're going to keep doing. So, if you are new with us tonight, if you're new joining us online, maybe you're joining us online throughout the week and it's maybe Wednesday by the time you're watching this, well, you should still know that every Saturday night from the very beginning, from 6 years ago, we've had a guest storyteller to join us in the living room to share some of their experience, strength, and hope. I can't wait for you. Now, I know many of you know my friend and brother, Adam Castle. Some of you are going to meet him no, don't come up yet. I got to say a few words, Adam. Not only is Adam celebrating 8 years of being clean and sober this week, but for those of you that know Adam, and I said this in the write-up for the email and social media, he's not exactly a church guy, if you know what I mean. And this is like his own words, but he's like an OG. He's been coming here since our first location, and he's found a sense of belonging here, and he's discovered a sense of who God is in Adam's recovery, and I'm so grateful that he's going to share some of that story. But the other piece of the story I wanted him to share tonight, some of you may not know this, on December 23rd of 2023, so just over a year ago, Adam was on his way here to be of service. He's always being of service in this community, and he was on his way here to serve. And it was our Christmas Eve service, if you remember it. And Adam, I'll never forget the phone call we received that he was in a terrible motorcycle accident, because Adam's also in a motorcycle club called the Sober Souls. He was in a terrible motorcycle accident. Thank God he was wearing a helmet. He may not have made it. And he's going to share some of that story. And I asked him the question, how did it change you? And he's going to share some of that story. So help me welcome my friend and brother Adam Castle to the living room.
There we go with the bright lights again.
Here we go, the bright lights again, but they protect us from our people. It's like a shield. Not that we need a shield from y'all, but you know how it is. We get nervous up here. Oh, let me tell you all this story first. I was on a call yesterday with about some grants that we may be applying for, and there was 3 of us on this call. One of the people said on the call, she said, oh yeah, you've got to go to Free because, I mean, you should see it. Their guest storyteller tomorrow night, he has tattoos on his face. Man, we create space for everyone here, Adam, even you.
You do. I definitely have tattoos on my face, but I'm still welcome here. That's amazing.
And there's much more to you than tattoos on your face. Let's start here, though. Adam, I know you were, since 1981, you said you were in and out of prison, in and out of being locked up. And you said the most beautiful line to me when we were talking. You said, I don't do that stuff anymore, so I don't go there anymore. Sometimes it's really simple, isn't it?
It is. I mean, you can't get much more simpler than if you just don't do it, you don't go.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to learn that, but I think I did.
Yeah, I think it's been 8 years. And so a little bit of his backstory, in and out of prison, but August 2016, he stepped out of prison and he made this conscious decision that he wasn't going to use anymore. And he didn't just make a decision, right? He got connected to transition sober living. Him and Scott, another dear man in this community, they got connected, still connected to this day. And man, he speaks very highly of you, Scott. He got connected to the Sober Souls Motorcycle Club. He got connected here at Free. And dude, you're one of the ones, you keep coming back. You've stayed connected. Can you just tell us, just give us the short story of what that looked like, the story of connection for you coming out of prison?
Well, I mean, like I said, when I went into the county jail, I decided, I'm going to get this tattoo on my face right here. And that was to show everybody that everybody's got two sides to their face. There's always the monster. Everybody has it. Not everybody shows it. Now you can see it. So I decided to do that. I did it. I decided that I wasn't going to do drugs anymore or drink, and I did that. Then I thought I was going to start my own motorcycle club. I didn't do that.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah, but I did wind up joining the Sober Souls Motorcycle Club, which turned out to be an awesome idea. And in the process of doing that, my brother Scott or Bags brought me to Free when you guys were at the old location. And I'm not a God person. But here I am.
Yeah.
Weird.
And I also, it is weird. Miracles happen. Very important part of your story, and I said this last service, since last Saturday, I've talked to 4 different people, 4 families or 4 loved ones who have lost loved ones, young people, to fentanyl overdose. In fact, one of those families was here at the 5 o'clock service. We'll be doing his memorial service here in March. Adam, I know you kind of helped when we started our F-Fentanyl campaign. That idea came from you because you were wearing a hat one day, or a shirt, was it? And that idea came from you.
I mean, it did.
And we ran with it. But that's rooted somewhere. It's not just F-Fentanyl for Adam. You got to understand he's lost a daughter, was it 3 years ago?
Yeah, in August 18th of 2021.
Lost a daughter to fentanyl overdose. And then in June, he lost a son. This June, lost a son to fentanyl overdose.
And June 2nd.
And can I just say, not to take the terror away from that, but the beautiful thing that happens is in recovery is you can go through that and you stayed connected, and therefore you stayed clean and sober through that. You want to say a word about it?
Yeah, like that happened with my daughter, and I took that really hard. So like I made one phone call, and all these guys from the Sober Souls, they were just right there immediately. And that's when I really decided, hey, I'm going to be a member of the Sober Souls Motorcycle Club. I love those guys, and I do. So, however, then in June 2024, I lost my son. I didn't really tell my brothers about it, but I finally did. Went to our Foothills Wednesday night meeting, and I let it out. It felt better, but it's bad enough when you lose one kid to fentanyl, but then when you lose 2, nobody should have to do that. No parent should have to bury 2 of their children. And, I'm not going to say the word, but, fentanyl is just probably not for the best, okay? Okay, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
Let me just give it a little context here. Scott and Adam here had a bet going on. Someone was possibly winning $100 tonight. Don't forget to tithe on it. 20% goes to the church. It used to be 10%, but tonight it's 20%. But if he didn't drop any F-bombs or any curse words tonight, we're about halfway through, Adam. So, you're doing a dang good job. You want me to say a curse word for you? No, that would really screw it up.
I mean, if anybody out there wants to, that would really appreciate. I'd be appreciated. Yeah, there you go. How about that? The fentanyl part, yeah. I'll say fentanyl, and you could say fentanyl.
All right, someone lost the bet.
I didn't lose a bet. I didn't say it.
All right. But here's what I love about this, and I'm glad we can laugh about this, and it is a true tragedy in our community. I hope you all understand. This is the most untalked about epidemic that we have seen in our lifetime. It is totally untalked about. That's why we talk about it here. It didn't harden you. In fact, if you know Adam, he comes and he shows up and he's in service in the most quiet ways. You might have tattoos on your face, but yet you walk in. My wife is like, she hugs you before she hugs me. You do this thing to people. There's a softness about you, but that softness wasn't always there.
No, it was not. I mean, for the most part of my life, I have been that person that your mother warned you about, I guess. But not today. I've had great teachers, great inspiration coming here to Free. My brother with Transition Sober Living took me into his program and taught me a lot, and now that's all I do. I help people in sober living and in recovery, and I enjoy coming here to Free and the family and the community, the support. It's phenomenal. I don't think you can get a better place to go. Like you guys know, I am not a God person. And I'm just going to leave it right there, because otherwise I might say something I'm not supposed to.
Yes, but you're also selling it a little bit short, Adam, because you are I don't know what you want to call it, a God person, a spiritual person. You have mixed in, you said to me, I've learned to mix in God with my recovery. It's the thing that keeps me sober.
It is.
And it's very authentic coming from you. You don't have all the religious categories and the big words, because no one would understand it anyway. But when it comes from you, it's a very real thing.
Right. Well, when I first started coming to Free, I thought, I can't say, but this place is not what I'm used to.
Yeah.
And I continued coming back, and I mean, you don't really push God on people here. It's recovery based, and it's about what God Scripture is and how it intertwines with recovery, and a lot of what's said in the Bible, biblical terminology, does fit into recovery. Yeah. And you don't realize that until you're deep in it. And I don't think I can get much deeper in it than up here on this stage right now.
Man, we totally, to use Carrie's term, we bamboozled you.
Yeah.
You got bamboozled.
I did. And all of a sudden, I'm a different person. I don't even know how that happened, but
yeah.
It's definitely become something, an anomaly, I guess you would call it, because I don't know anything that wouldn't be a bad word to say.
So when you were December 23rd of 2023, you were a terrible accident. You didn't know, shouldn't have made it,
No.
but you survived it, and you said it changed you.
It did. If I didn't have my helmet on, I wouldn't be sitting in front of you guys. So if you ride motorcycles or you have friends that do, tell them to put their helmet on. Because life is better than just a moment. I didn't know that one time. I just thought every moment could be my last. And now I'm finding out that every time I think this is my last moment, I get 5 or 10 more moments.
And you spent 3 months in a hospital.
I did.
And you didn't get up and beat up the guy.
No, because I really thought about, because when my bike hit, I saw the guy pulling out. I was like, oh, here we go. I didn't say it. And I went flying through the air like 150 feet or something like that. I don't know. But as I'm coming, I see the ground coming up. I'm like, I am really going to this guy up. And when I tried to get up, I tried to lift my leg and my arm, and I got it up a little bit, and I'm like, I'm going to. And then I just couldn't do anything. My arm and my leg didn't work, and I was like, I'll get back to you.
I'll get back to you. Sometimes God is doing for you what you cannot do for yourself,
right?
Adam.
Put that self-control there for me. He's like, just slow down, cowboy.
So you go to the hospital. You're there for 3 months. What was, if you had to put the change in a sentence, how did it change you?
Well, I came out feeling a little bit more empathy, a little more compassion for other people, you know. I mean, I don't know why, but like I got another moment. I don't know if it's just going to be 1 or 10, I don't know, but while I'm out here, I'm going to try to do the best I can to just, you know, continue to change myself. I'm learning every day and to help others in the process. And by coming here, I get that chance. So I really enjoy it. And, you know, I can't say the same thing twice. I don't remember what I said before, but I'm pretty sure it's right along the same lines. I lose, you know, not everybody's marbles are that good. You bang them around. That's what happens with marbles.
You know, when we were talking this week, I asked Adam, I said, did you have like one aha moment in the hospital or when you got out of the hospital? He said, oh yeah, I had that aha moment. And I was expecting something really profound. Tell me, what was the aha moment? Do you remember what you told me?
I don't remember.
Oh, I do. Let me tell him.
My marbles
You said,
got bounced
when
around.
I got my new bike.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That was his aha moment, buying a new motorcycle.
It was an aha moment because I got my new bike and I didn't have any payments. I was like, aha. Something good came out of this.
Something good came out of this.
And, you know, there was change involved, but yeah, that was I did tell you that,
Yeah, you did.
That was it.
I wrote it down in my notes.
I'm sure
I
you
just
did.
read that just now.
See, I don't have that luxury. I don't have a monitor in front of me.
And to summarize, Adam, how does it all? What does peace look like in your life today?
Well, obviously, I sat up here, not a single curse word so far. So,
Amen.
That's the difference. I'm more calm, a little more mellow, and like I said, I've learned humility and grace, and just trying to. You know, I'm at peace with myself now, and I know that, you know, any of these moments could be my last. I almost had it, but today is not it, and I'm going to continue to do good things until I can't.
And, yeah, that's a beautiful thing. And I told Adam we were just going to sit up here and I'm just going to fire off questions to him, and that's what I'm doing. I'm firing away questions.
That's what he's doing.
Let's close with this one. Not being a quote-unquote a God guy, as you say, how do you describe God? What is God? Where have you experienced God? How do you experience God?
Well, I could say that something exists that's bigger than me or you or this building. You know, my level of godness isn't up there. My ego was way up there, but I didn't know nothing about God or Scripture, and I still don't know much about Scripture, but I know that coming here to Free, I get to learn how the two fit together, and that's a big difference in my life, so something spiritual must be happening.
Beautiful. Adam, you get to stick around a little while if people want to talk to you a little bit?
I am.
Because I'll make the same promise to them that I made at the 5 o'clock. If you get to know Adam, I promise you your life will be better. This is a good dude. Get to know him. Get to know more of his story. Adam Castle, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
He won his $100. Don't forget, 50% of it comes to the church. Don't forget. Starts at 10, but it keeps going up. All right, y'all. Hey, the way we close things down here on a Saturday night is with similar to how we do. Man, blessings upon you, child. You need a blessing. We close with similar to heartaches, but similar to celebrations, but these are called heartaches. So we lift up the good. We start with the good. But I know that sometimes we try to do a good job at carrying around these burdens that we have. We carry them around, try to do it on our own. And what we find out here is you don't have to do that. It's why you have community. It's why you have a God who hears the cries of the people. So if you need some prayer, some encouragement, some lifting up, we take 3 minutes for this. If you're joining us online, drop your heartaches in the Facebook comments or the YouTube comments, and we'll join with you there. For those of you in-house, you could just raise up your hand. Adam will get you a mic on this side. Scott will get you a mic on this side. And we take 3 minutes, and this time is yours.
Hey, I'm Maddie, and my best friend and dog, Rigel, named after a star, died last week, kind of unexpectedly, so just miss her.
Yeah. Prayers for you, Maddie, during this time of loss. Lifting you up, brother.
My name is Max. Going through a divorce pretty quick here. Just pray for my wife and my stepchildren that we can all just be peaceful and love on each other moving forward. And just pray for me in my recovery. My sister just lost her father, so pray for her household.
Yeah. Lifting you up tonight, Max. Glad you're here. Prayers for you.
My name's Andrew. I have a buddy who a few weeks ago had an oral infection that went to his brain, ended up fainting in his apartment alone. No one found him for 3 days. So his kidneys had shut down and he shattered his collarbone, but he's out of the hospital now. Just wishing good recovery for him.
Yeah, we'll keep lifting him up, man. Yeah. Any others?
I'm Kai, and I've just been struggling lately. I've just been really hard on myself, so just prayers that I can show myself some grace when I make mistakes.
Yeah. A beautiful prayer. Thank you for sharing that with us, Kai. Lifting you up.
Definitely want to let everybody know that a friend of mine was here in Denver for a while, went back to Florida, got sober after he came out of prison, did very well, but then on January 4th, he relapsed and he died on fentanyl.
Yeah. Sorry to hear that, brother. Prayers for his family and everyone that loved him.
Hi, I'm Heather. I just want to say that I've also been struggling, much like Kai lately, with my mental health, and I would just love to be lifted up in prayer. Thank you.
All right, Heather, lifting you up. Thank you for sharing that with us. Anyone else?
How about we just lift everybody up in this room that showed up tonight?
Yeah, that's a good prayer, Adam. Prayers for all of you, sending you all kinds of love and good energy to keep going on the journey. Thank you for giving us that reminder, Adam. Thank you for... Tam, you going to join me up here again? No? Jerome will if you don't. Jerome, Jerome, you join me up here, dude. Come on, we didn't get to hang out enough this week. Let's hang out some more. We were at a symposium together, and it was all kinds of fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm glad it's over, but it was a good experience.
It's tight, man. People like, for you extroverts would just totally love it because you're just talking to people all day. But for some of us who are a little more introverted, it can be, man, it's like a marathon.
Yeah, we talk about it here. I mean, we share this with you guys, but having the same conversation more than 100 times in 3 days, it wears on you a little bit, but I'm here, and I'm grateful.
We get to do it. All right, let's join our online people. You want the first one?
Yes. Roger, prayers for all the people in margins.
All right, Roger, lifting them up. Thank you for mentioning them. And it's good to see you here, Roger. John Allison, please pray for our daughter for the loss of her close friend from an overdose. Yes, lifting up Tawny and everyone who loved that close friend. And yeah.
Richard, my job over for me very soon. Please prayers for some clarity on what is next for me. Scary stuff. You got it, Richard. We've all been there.
Yep.
What is it? All great things come to an end, but it's usually a birth to another great thing, right? So here we go.
Prayers for you, brother. Julie says, part celebration, part heartache for my daughter Jessica's birthday on Monday. She would have been 26, and I miss her every day. Fentanyl. And yeah, lifting you up, Julie. I'm so glad you're part of this community. There was a few of you that I was so aware of this week who have been there, and I know you help so many other people. And thank you for always being honest and vulnerable in this community. And happy birthday to your daughter, Jessica. Heavenly birthday. And we're glad you're here tonight, Julie, part of this community. Thank you, Jerome, for being up here with me, brother. All right. Oh, well, y'all, if you've been impacted by the mission of breaking the silence of addiction, if this is your home, if you call this place free your home, if this is your people, your tribe, your community, well, we do rely upon your generous giving here. In fact, without your giving, and I know many of you have made this a part of your life, giving is now a sacrificial practice, a spiritual practice in your life. Without your giving, we don't exist here. So when I say thank you for it, I truly mean thank you. It makes a huge difference. If you would like to donate in this community, there's a few different ways to do it. You can download the app, Free Recovery Community. All of our content's on that app. There's a giving button on that app. You can give one time or weekly, monthly, however you want to do it. We're grateful for all of it. You can do the exact same thing on a website, freerecoverycommunity.com. And there is the giving kiosk, one just beside these doors and one just outside these doors for you cash and checks type people. And I always love to tell you about the dip jar that lives just outside these black doors on a little black table. It's about the size of a shoebox. And what you do is you take a credit card, you dip in, you dip out, it lights up. You get to feel good about your giving. It's set at $20, so you can't give more or less than $20. But for those of you who are just so eager to give, you can dip as many times as you want and different credit cards if you want. Matt will demonstrate how to do that in just a few minutes. So follow him out the front doors. All right, y'all, it's always fun to be with you on a Saturday night. Shall we close it in prayer? Yes. Yeah, let's close things in prayer. I invite you to just open up the hands. There's nothing magical about it, just a little simple sign that you are open to Spirit moving in our midst, always breathing life in us and through us and all around us, so that we might have new life constantly. So take a big, deep breath. And if you don't know the set-aside prayer, well, it's on your screen and we'll pray it together. It goes like this. God, today help me set aside everything I think I know about you, everything I think I know about myself, everything I think I know about others, and everything I think I know about my own recovery, so that I may have an open mind and a new experience with all these things. Please help me see the truth. Amen, and grace and peace to you, brothers and sisters. See you next time.